Thank
Yes.
you for sharing, Rabbi. So if I could ask you one question, it would be, what practices do you do in your day-to-day life to keep yourself uncontaminated?
I eat breakfast, and then lunch, in the course of a day we do many mitzvahs. Of course, the mitzvah is pure godliness. But how you do it and why you do it, that's where the contamination can come in. So you make blessings before you eat, you make a blessing after you eat bread, you wash your hands when you need, when appropriately, keep kosher, Shabbos comes around, Shabbos is different, you light the candles, you make the kiddush. We do all sorts of wonderful, beautiful things that God asks us to do for Him. The question is, for Him? Are you doing it for Him? That would be pure. If you're doing it for other reasons, you're getting a little messy. So the challenge is, whatever mitzvah you are doing, or whatever mitzvah you're going to do, keep it sincere. No wax. God asked, if it works for Him, I'll do it. Like a woman who complains to her husband, how come you never say I love you? You know what every man says. You know I love you. And every woman says, yeah, I know. But I'd like to hear you say it. And every husband says, if you know I love you, why do I have to say it? And every wife says, would it kill you to say it? So every husband says, if I say it, will you be happy? And the wife says, yes. So the husband says, fine, I love you. Can we talk about something else now? Do we do this with God too? Like, should the husband say, I love you? It doesn't do anything for him. He feels no need. Should he still do it? Why?
Because it makes her happy.
Yeah, the question was an insulting question. Why should I do it? I just told you why. Because I want to hear it. But that's not a reason for you, right? You only do it when you need to say it. Well, then what kind of marriage is this? So, yes, he should say it because it works for her. Same thing with Judaism. Like every day you should say, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. God is one. God comes and says, how come you never say Hashem Echad to me anymore? You don't send me flowers anymore. And we say, oh, you know you're one. You've always been one. God says, I know, but why don't you say it? He says, well, if you know, why do I have to say it? God says, would it kill you to say Shema Yisrael? So we go to shul and we say, if we say it, you'll be happy? Fine, Shema Yisrael. Can we go now? We should say it because it doesn't work for us. That makes sense? I don't need to say it. And when I say it, it doesn't do anything for me. So when I do say it, it's pure. It's for Him. That is sincere.
Any other questions? Go right ahead.
Hi, Rabbi. It's an honor to hear you speak in person. I know this is a very deep question, and it's not a one-answer question, but what is the importance of Nida?
What is the importance of
Not
Nida?
importance, but significance, or why do people do it, and why is it important to do it?
So I got to tell you, I made a documentary on the subject. And in the documentary, which is called Lost Key, You can get it on Netflix. In the documentary, we interview a traditional Chinese doctor. And he said that in Chinese tradition, according to the principles of yin and yang, when a woman is menstruating, she's not receiving because she's giving out. You can't take in and give out at the same time. So they do not have relations during that time. Not for religious reasons, just because of nature. You can't give and take at the same time. So the purpose of it is, a man is supposed to be the provider and the giver. The woman is supposed to be the receiver and the nurturer. So this is the amazing thing. The entire relationship between husband and wife is determined by the uterus. When the uterus is receptive, you can have a relationship. The uterus says no, then it's no. I don't know how people took it as an insult to women. On the contrary, the whole relationship is when your body is ready, then you can have a relationship. When your body is not ready, you can't. So, you're calling the shots.
Pretty feminist. Pretty feminist.
Anyone else?
Rabbi.
Can you tell us about what people's experiences in Hanukkah that are memorable to you?
Experience?
On Hanukkah that are memorable to you?
Yeah. We live in Minnesota. It's not a Jewish state. In fact, it's a very Lutheran state. So around this time of year, you know, December, end of December, there's a holiday. In Minnesota, they start celebrating that holiday in July. The lights, the bulbs, the images, it starts in July. Okay, a little exaggeration. But it's everywhere, it's blinding. Somebody lights a menorah in their window, you'll never find it. It's like looking for Waldo. So one year, my wife and I decided we're going to go to Israel for Hanukkah. Get away from the garish lights of December. Anyway, we come to Israel, and it was absolutely a machaya. No garish lights, just menorahs everywhere. On the fourth night of Hanukkah, we were walking down the narrow streets of Meah She'arim, and we were just shepping nachas. All the shops were closed, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because everybody's busy getting ready their menorah. And they all light the menorah outside, in those little glass things with the chimneys, you know. Beautiful. So this one is carrying the menorah, and this one is running with the oil, and they're making the wicks and the candles. It was just wonderful. We were just soaking it up. We're walking up the street, and a troop of soldiers are coming the other direction in double file. The tension between the soldiers and the people was so shocking. No greetings. They didn't make eye contact. The soldiers wouldn't look at the people wouldn't look at the soldiers. Where were they going? In their bulletproof vests? To some dangerous spot that needs to be protected, because on Hanukkah there's usually some attempts, terrorism. It ruined our whole trip. It was devastating. Now, I know that they're not Chabad in Meah She'arim, If they were Chabad, they would have given the menorah to the soldiers to take with them to the...
Yes.
Okay, they weren't going to do that. But you can't say Chag Sameach. You can't wish them well. They're going to risk their lives so that you can light your menorah without a worry and without a... And the soldiers? They're going to risk their lives so that you can light the menorah, but they can't say Chag Sameach to you. It was very painful to see.
The rabbi mentioned that in the times it's our job to teach Torah to what isn't that a law for not allowed? And number two, a lot of times it seems that when a guy doesn't necessarily ask you a question, it's because they kind of want to stomp you where you don't know, and it's kind of reverse. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts.
Let me get to that in a second. Let's finish with the Jews, and we'll take on the non-Jews. Anyway, that experience was so disheartening. I started to think, what was the Zionist dream? And it didn't make any sense. You see, here's what happened. Jews were living all over Europe, all over Asia, in big countries. Like there were Jews in Russia, big country, and they didn't get along. The Jews in Ukraine did not get along with the Jews in White Russia. The Jews of White Russia didn't get along with the Latvians. The Latvians didn't get along with the Litvaks, the Ashkenazim. It was horrible in a very big country. Then there were Jews in Poland, large country. They didn't get along. The Galiciana did not get along with the other Poles. And the Polish Jews didn't get along with the Russian Jews at all. Then there were the Hungarian Jews who didn't get along with anybody. And the Romanians. Nobody knows what they were doing. But they were not getting... So, what was the dream? Let's take Jews from all these countries where there's plenty of room and plenty of space, and they don't get along, and let's cram them all into a tiny little country. Whoever survives wins. What were they thinking? What were they thinking? So I finally realized they were thinking that the reason Jews in Europe don't get along is because there are Ukrainian Jews and White Russian Jews, and there are German Jews, Yekis, and then there are Galicianers, and they dress different. And you know what the solution is? Never again a Hungarian Jew, never again a Ukrainian Jew. Let's go back to Israel and just be Jews. Then we'll get along. So what went wrong? So I started doing a little survey. I stop a guy in the streets in the shuk. I said, "Excuse me, what are you?" He says, "Haredi." I stop another Jew. I say, "What are you?" "Dati." Another Jew, Chiloni. Or they say right wing, left wing, hawkish, dove, Labour, Likud. Didn't see a single Jew. Can't find a Jew in Israel. So finally I stopped this one guy. I said, "What are you?" He says, "Jewish." I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "Cleveland." See, in Cleveland he wouldn't have said that. But a guy from Cleveland in Israel will say, "I'm a Jew." So I think the solution would be very simple. Let's go back to the original plan. Stop being kinds of Jews, just be Jewish. That's why I recommend very strongly, no more Orthodox, No more conservative, no more reform, no more reconstructionist. Enough with the labels. Just Chabad, and that's all. Finally, a solution. Okay, let's talk about speaking to non-Jews. The fact is that most non-Jews are in awe of Jews. When they ask you a question about religion, they really think you know better and you're going to give them a good answer. And even if they argue with you, they'll walk away knowing that they heard a good answer because they heard it from a Jew. So I can tell you another story. In Minnesota, I got there in 1970, and somehow, I got invited to speak to the graduating class of the Lutheran Seminary. Also the Baptist Seminary. So once a year, I speak to their graduating class. And it's very nice. They're very polite, they're very respectful. It's good, it's interesting. Every year, the teacher, the minister, assures me that the class had been prepared. I said, what do you mean? What, they studied Gemara? How did they prepare? He says, no, they know that they should not witness to you. They shouldn't try to convert me. They got it, they know it, they're not going to try to convert you. Every year I say to them, stop worrying. It's fine. But he's very religious about it. Oh, they also read The Chosen.
Oh, no.
Anyway, one year, I arrive at the class. This is a 10-square block campus. Very, very, very modern, very impressive. Anyway, it's an auditorium with the slanted room, with the slanted floor. About 200 students graduating, men and women. As I'm speaking, I noticed a woman sitting right in front of me on the lowest row, and she has that look.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
I spoke for almost an hour. She didn't blink once. That look. I said, oh, she missed the class when he prepared them. This is going to be trouble. Sure enough, as soon as I finish speaking, her hand goes up. I don't want to talk to her. So I'm looking over her head as if I don't see her to the top rows, hoping that somebody would raise their hand. Nobody raises their hand. And they all see her hand up. So I waited as long as I could. Eventually I just had to. So I call on her. She says, what do you think of Christians? So my first thought was, this is how pogroms begin. So I tried to lighten it up a little. I said, do you want an honest answer or my polite answer? No humor. She says, your honest answer. So my second thought was, it's been a good life. Nobody lives forever. Because my third thought was, what the heck am I doing here? Anyway, I had no choice. So I said, my honest answer is, the word Christian scares me. Because you haven't always been good to Jews. And now I'm waiting for the room to explode. Nothing happened. Nothing. Like, what? Somebody else raised their hand, a completely different topic, different question, and it went on for another 40 minutes. Program is over. I'm standing talking to a few of the students. The teacher comes over and says, have you got a minute? There's something Kathy wants to say to you. Takes me to the other side of the room. Now all 200 students surround us, and Kathy is the woman who was sitting in. She's sitting in one of the desks, and she is sobbing. And the minister, the teacher, says, Kathy, tell him. She can't talk. So he says again, come on, Kathy, tell him. About 3 or 4 times. She pulls herself together, and she says, I want to apologize for all the horrible things we've done in the name of God. Your answer was much too generous. So I had misunderstood that look. It wasn't missionary zeal. She was embarrassed to be sitting in front of a Jew. And when she asked, what do I think of Christians, she was expecting a tirade. Total condemnation. The amazing thing is, the teacher knew that that's what she wanted to say, and he pushed her to say it. Which means that everyone in the room agreed, including the minister. Now, if you have a minute, I got to tell you the funny ending. This minister calls me one day, not to come to the class. He says, I need your help. There's a young couple in our parish. I think he called it a parish. He is of Jewish birth, but he's a member of the church. But he is of Jewish birth. Well, this young couple just had their first baby, and the mother wants to baptize the child, but the father will not allow. Now, I've tried to reason with him, but he won't listen. So could you talk to him? You get the picture? A Lutheran minister wants a Hasidic rabbi to convince a Jew to baptize his child. I thought, this is once in a lifetime. I'm never going to get another chance. I said, give me his number. I called the guy up. I say, I understand there's a problem with baptizing your child. He says, there is no problem. My child will not be baptized, and that's the end of it. I said, okay. Don't baptize him, see if I care. I just want to tell you, should you ever decide to baptize your child, it's okay, because the child is not Jewish. He says, I'm Jewish, my child is Jewish, and he will not be baptized. I said, that's beautiful. I'm glad you feel that way. I'm just telling you, should you ever change your mind, it's okay to baptize the child. He says, no, I'm Jewish, my child is Jewish, and he will not be baptized. I said, I am so impressed. You are so Jewish. It's amazing. Look, you're a member of a church. Doesn't matter, you're Jewish. You converted to Christianity. Doesn't matter, I'm Jewish. You're married to a Christian woman. So what? I'm Jewish. You're so Jewish. Let him sprinkle the water. You'll still be Jewish. No. Isn't that amazing? Jews are incredible. Here's what's going on in his brain. I belong to a church, so church, synagogue, same thing. I converted to Christianity. Religion, this religion, that religion, same thing. I married a non-Jewish woman. A woman is a woman. She's a nice woman. Jewish woman, not Jewish woman. It's a woman. So would you like to baptize your child? Baptize? Oh, that's not Jewish. See, she couldn't find the like celebrate Christmas? You know, Christmas, Hanukkah. But baptize? Oh no, that's not Jewish. And as soon as he realized, no, this is not Jewish, wild horses can't get him to do it. That is the pure oil of a Jewish neshama. And some people will say, oh, he's such a hypocrite, and you don't get it? It's awesome. You can make any argument you want. You tell a Jew to do something that isn't Jewish, there's no way. Well, then why did he marry out? Why does he belong to a church? That's just a little flavoring on the Judaism. It's not giving it up. That's why eventually the church is going to ask him to leave. Because Jews never become Christians, even when they convert to Christianity. They stay Jewish. Eventually, he's going to be told to go home. Jews don't make good Christians. Oh, we can make the best. We can become God, but nothing less. Oh, yeah, the bishop, the Archbishop of France. Yes, you know about this?
Yes.
The previous Archbishop of France was a nice Jewish boy, Lustig. So what if he was the Archbishop of France?
He was Jewish.
Jewish boy. When he died, he asked to be buried with Kaddish, Jewish way. So I'm the Archbishop of France. So what? Makes me a non-Jew? I'm Jewish. Or there was that joke that everybody was making about why is the chief rabbi of France a Sephardi? Because the Archbishop is an Ashkenazi. They divided it up, you know. Like.
One last question, anybody? Go ahead.
Rabbi Friedman, this is not a question. This is a public thanks that I have to give to you, because I think in my own perspective that during the times of Corona, I had a huge miracle. I was very sick, and I was so sick, and I said, Hashem help me, and I pressed YouTube, and there came the tape on how to deal if you get Corona. And I was not being able to breathe, and you explained, I know the tape by heart, I could repeat it every 5 days, I heard it 20 times, and you said that the most important thing, if you got the parasite, you had to be happy, very happy, not to let the parasite take control of you, because then your immune system would go down and you would have the upper hand. And you also said, be grateful to Hashem, start thinking of all the good things that have happened in your life. And in the middle of that fever and being so afraid to being taken to the hospital, I started thanking Hashem for every little thing that had happened in my life from the moment of birth. Every time I thought I couldn't breathe, I called my husband, I turned the stereo on, and I told my husband that also had Corona, and we were dancing. I never thought we were crazy. And every time I danced and danced, even though we couldn't, I don't know where we got the strength, we felt stronger and stronger, and eventually pulled out of Corona on our own. To know how far-reaching the tapes are, and I've told this story to probably 100 people. And I've given the advice to so many other people, and you should know that I probably didn't end up intubated or in a ventilator thanks to that advice that you gave me that I took to heart. And I think I graduated of a Murnan. And I live in Israel, and you know, I think Hashem really sent me the present because I was with you and everything, and I pressed YouTube and you come into my phone.
Wow.
I said, what can I do, Hashem? And I pressed it, and there's your class. So it was Thank you very much. And the other thing I want to tell you about living in Israel, I had an experience like yours with having Hanukkah, but this was weird. I was eating ice cream in Manila Mall, 900 degrees, with my husband and my aunt, and a platoon of 30 soldiers came to the Belgian ice cream place, where it's very expensive to eat an ice cream, and I saw the boys, I'm dressed like this, looking at the ice cream. They said, oh no, that's so expensive. And I saw two of the boys go and order bottles of water. They were sweating, they had just come from being anointed, no, it's like celebrating their in the hotel that they're training. So I told the owner, I told them, go and buy them ice cream to all the 30 boys. The boys were shocked. Hey, are you Haredi? I said, I don't care. You're the defenders of the land. I bought them ice cream, and a woman took a picture. She took a picture, and that night there were 30,000 emails of people fighting on both sides. We didn't know with my husband while we'd be buying ice cream. But the Haredi people were attacking us, the secular people were attacking us. They didn't believe it of what had happened. The Haredi said, why are you giving a nice ice cream to the soldiers? And then the seculars, they were saying I was pacifying myself for not serving in the army, my children and my grandchildren, even though my grandson was in the army. And the fights that lasted for 1 week. And finally, everybody was at peace, and all I kept saying is, they are our children. I don't care that I'm Haredi. We are able to sleep at night, like you said, because they are taking care of the land, and they are our children. Whether you like it or not, they're our children. So you have this wave of division that's happening in Israel all the time. And just pray that we get Moshiach soon, because we really need desperately, everybody, when you light your candles, this Hanukkah, I beg you, please, Israel is our only home. You need to daven and cry, because I cried today. We need Moshiach, because the government we have right now we are suffering in there. You don't even know what it took me to get out of Israel. I'm not vaccinated because I had corona, so I don't believe that's my own belief. And what they're doing to us, the people, just because we have our beliefs, it's something that you would not even
excuse me, we got our own problems here. we also have a government with a president, but you're right 100%. You're incredible. You're incredible. Next time I come to Israel, I expect an ice cream from you. An expensive one.
Judith, that wasn't a question, so we'll have a question. Go ahead, Judith.
Okay, Rabbi, my question is, we're living in a very scary time. When you have like little children, it's very scary what the kids are talking about. Or, like, it's very hard for me to ask for Mashiach because it's scary. It's scary talking about if there is a war coming. It's scary because I just want to live in my bubble with my kids. You know what I mean? Like, what I want to say is like, how can I ask Hashem for Mashiach if everything is so scary around? You know what? I just...
Two things. Mashiach coming does not mean there's going to be a war.
Right. But the thing is, like, what my kids are looking at this time is like exactly what you just said. Like, if I have a 8-year-old and she's like, Mommy, they say that there's a bathroom for boys, girls, and who knows what's the next thing. How do I explain that? It's really scary for me, and how to explain to the kids, and how to show them that Hashem is all the time with us, that there is a lot of bad things happening around us. You know what? Like,
yeah. So first of all, don't call it bad things. call it silly things, because that's what it is. So as soon as Mashiach comes, they're going to change the signs back to normal on the bathrooms. I noticed in San Francisco, I was just there. They don't, usually they have a drawing of a woman and a man, but in San Francisco you can't do that. They have a drawing of a toilet.
The toilet?
So let me finish it.
A question, short one. Are we allowed to say in the show trying not to be about Israel? Is it allowed? We all Israel, they're all Jews. Some are too. But we're not to say bad things about Israel?
No.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Amen.
So listen, we have to have confidence that what you're teaching and what you're giving your children is healthy, it's MS, and it will work. Don't get scared.
I'm giving them MS. I can be wrong.
You can be wrong?
Of course I can be
No.
wrong. What I'm teaching to my kids.
No. What you're teaching is right. But you have to have confidence. The children will hear it, they will understand it, that will make them strong, and they will not become part of that craziness. We've survived worse things than this. And this is just craziness. And the world wants a little sanity from us. So just teach what you're teaching, because you're teaching them right. You're giving them good chinuch, and a good chinuch always works. Maybe not today, tomorrow they'll catch on. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. No room for fear.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to share that the reason that I'm actually here today with my husband is because I attended one of your classes more than 22 years ago. And I just wanted to share this because the words that came from you created me to take action. When I was living in Manhattan and I wasn't married, and we attended a class, a bunch of singles in New York City, and Rabbi Friedman said, everyone, before you even go out on your first date, you open up a calendar and you set the date for your wedding. And the class was aghast at that and said, how could you do that? We have to live together, we have to experience one another, and we need to get to know each other. I took that note in my own head and I moved here to Florida. I met my husband and I said, this is the date, and Rabbi Lipsker married us 6 months later.
Well, it couldn't have been 23 years ago. I'm only 35. Huh? Oh, yeah. Anyway, if you want to continue these thoughts and ideas, I happen to have a few books with me. Just came out. Literally just came out. It's already out of print. We want to reprint more, but this wonderful country of ours has a shortage of paper. So they're telling us now that they won't be able to reprint until February. But we do have some that were sitting here in Florida. And if you want a copy, yes, sir.